Big news coming through. Sources say that the GST Council Secretariat has suggested that the GST Council consider the possibility of including petroleum products under GST. The GST Council will mull the issue. This is the information coming through courtesy CNBC TV 18. We'll try and go across to Pallavi Ghosh, a senior editor politics. It's a big ask. Pallavi, if you're there with us, because the states have to comply. They have to agree, because right now they are levying a tax on tax. And huge numbers of income goes on petroleum products into the state kitty.
Yes, so the two things over here, the Kerala High Court had actually made an observation in the context of the Kerala government that, there should be a GST on these petroleum products, and that's exactly what was quoted in the GST meeting today. Now, the GST Council also, of course, has representatives of the states, so if the states are very much on board. Consistently, every time the state government criticize about rising petrol prices or the fact that the fund allocation to them on the GST is coming down, that they need extra funds from the centre because they don't have enough money. This is exactly what the centre, the finance minister, has pointed out to them, that we need to have a GST as far as the petroleum products are concerned. This helps you, this helps us. And also at the end of the day, the state also has a share from the GST which is going to be collected. So you can stop complaining. You cannot expect the centre to fund every project of the state or give extra funding to them. So if you bring the whole petroleum and petroleum products under the purview of the GST, it actually is going to benefit both the centre as well as the state.
No, not just that, Pallavi. It'll bring down the cost of petrol and diesel and also LPG by a huge amount, because right now the central levies are standard across all states. It's the state levies which have the differentiation in the cost of petrol and diesel across various states, because states put a tax on the tax too, not just the base price.
That's right. But the argument which has often been given by the centre and the finance ministry, when we used to meet up with them and ask them this question, they said that, every state has a leverage to reduce a certain amount of taxation on petrol and petroleum products. So therefore, to blame the centre and the oil companies completely is unfair, because there have been instances of certain state governments who have been able to manage to bring down the rates of, say, a petrol or a diesel and their products only because they had reduced the taxation. So the GST bringing things under purview is something which is only going to take it one step further.
True, absolutely, because the states will then not be able to put in their local cesses and levies, because there is no local tax and there is no octroi, there is no other excise, nothing that would come into place. It will be one standard GST amount, and they will have to agree with the state in terms of sharing of the revenues, and the state will then transfer those revenues back to the states. Now, interesting debate. Whether states come around to that, we'll have to wait and watch, because not so long ago, all the BJP-ruled states were in favor of GST on petroleum products. Now let's see what happens, especially after these COVID times. Moving on now, and we queue up Sanjeevni. It's a shot of life, and it's a campaign here where we've been relentless, even through those tough phases where vaccine hesitancy was at its peak. We went out to the people with the message of Tika Laga, and India's vaccination drive now is gathering steam, creating new milestones each week. The World Health Organization also lauding the country for crossing the 75 crore vaccination mark. It took India just 13 days to scale up vaccinations from 65 crore to more than 75 crore. Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra lead the states in the number of jabs that have been administered. And in a big boost to the vaccination drive, India has now surpassed the 75 crore mark. It's pacing towards a mission to vaccinate all adults with one dose at least by the end of 2021. Runjan Sharma spoke to ICMR Director General Balram Bhargava.
Dr. Bhargav, India is slowly inching towards its target of vaccinating the entire adult population by the end of the year. But there's still a gap as far as people who received their first dose and people who are fully immunized. How do you look at that?
Yeah, I think it's a great day for us today. We have to, it's a cause of great celebration. We have completed 75 crores doses, which is translated in 750 million doses. That's huge as far as a big country like ours is concerned, and the whole world is appreciating this vaccination that we have done. And I think 60% of the adult population have received the first dose, and about 20% have received both the doses or full vaccination. Now, we know that one dose offers some protection, but both doses means complete vaccination, and so that is very important, and we will gradually catch up with that also. We have to catch up with that, and all that would depend on, one is the availability of the vaccine, the second would be the hesitancy should not creep in.
So if India does manage to achieve its target of vaccinating the entire adult population by 31st of December, will the government think of a booster dose?
Yeah, I think one thing at a time. Let us, first of all, we would like to vaccinate our entire adult population. One dose, as I mentioned, affords some protection. Second dose provides as what we call full vaccination. So we would like to have full vaccination for our entire adult population as the first thing. In terms of the booster doses, it is actually at the moment not the central theme for discussion in the public health discourse.
Let's get a quick check on the race to 75 crore vaccines, and we've really picked up the pace. It was very slow to get to the first, if you look at it, 15 crore vaccine, it took us 103 days, 56 days thereafter to get to 30 crore vaccines, another 35 days to get to 45 crore vaccines, 28 days to get to 60 crore vaccines, and 19 days to bridge this last gap of 15 crore vaccines. And especially it's just 13 days to the last 10 crore vaccines, that is 65 crore to 75 crore vaccines. Runjhun Sharma is with us. Runjhun, you had that conversation with Balram Bhargav, but more importantly now, is this pace going to slacken a bit, or are they going to pick it up a little more? Because it's not just one jab. At this pace, we can also have at least 50 crore of the population, eligible population, jab twice by 31st December.
Anand, the government is very hopeful that this pace will be maintained. Remember, the months of August as well as September have been remarkable as far as the pace of the vaccination is concerned. But remember, there are 3 vaccines that are still in the pipeline that have got emergency use authorization. There's Moderna, there's Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccine, as well as Zydus. And once these vaccines hit the market, the hope is that the vaccination pace will be further picked up. And also, of course, Anand, remember, it's 94 crore people that need to be vaccinated by the end of the year. Of course, for now, at least 75 crore people have received their first dose. But the target of the government of India is to make sure that all people, all 94 crore people should be fully immunized, which means they should receive both their doses by the end of the year. The government very, very hopeful, Anand.
Well, thank you for your inputs there, Runjhun. Meanwhile, a quick check. Are sanitizers harmful? Do vaccines modify your DNA? Do you have questions which are there in your mind and you'd like answers to? There is a space where all your queries can be answered as part of Network 18 and Federal Bank's campaign Sanjeevani, a shot of life. A WhatsApp helpline has been launched. All you have to do is WhatsApp on the number 7977773753 and you'll promptly receive your answers. Information that's been verified and cross-checked. Go ahead, WhatsApp your questions on COVID-19 and get all the information you need. The number is 7977773753.
आपने टीका लगाया क्या?
टीका लगा, वो जरा टीका लगा। जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा। टीका लगा, वो जरा टीका लगा। जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा। टीका लगा, वो जरा टीका लगा। वो जरा टीका 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 लगाया क्या? लगवा ले चुमन जरा सहले सहले तू सबसे ये कह ले है जनहित में जारी मिलती क्या डरना ओ निडर टीका लगा ओ जरा टीका लगा जब अपनी बारी आई टीका लगा ओ जरा टीका लगा ओ जरा टीका 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 लगाया क्या? जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा.
And after facing flack for his advice to farmers to protest in Delhi and Haryana instead of Punjab, Captain Amarinder Singh has issued a statement. He says the political twist to his appeal to call off protests in Punjab is unfortunate. He also says the continued stir in Punjab is uncalled for since the fight is against the BJP and not his government. Pallavi Ghosh now joins us. So some effort at damage control there by Captain Amarinder Singh, but we already heard what he said. He said take your agitation to other states, do it there. Don't try and stall economies and stop it to hurt the economy of the state. That's what he said.
Absolutely, and we understand why he is doing this damage control, because he also understood the political ramifications of the comment which he made earlier. As I said, as a chief minister, that would make kind of sense because, you're concerned about your economy and economic downturn. But as a politician, that's something which has hit him hard, not just from the opponents outside, but also within his party. And therefore, he had to issue this kind of a clarification to make the point that, it's a Congress, it is his government, which feels very strongly about the rights of the farmers to protest, and therefore to allege that he's against them and he's supporting the farm laws is absolutely wrong.
Well, thank you for your inputs, Pallavi. The nation today is celebrating Hindi Divas. Home Minister Amit Shah urged all Indians to make progressive use of the language. He further said that India accepted Hindi as her language along with the Constitution. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also congratulated the nation on the occasion.
मित्रों, हमने संविधान को जब स्वीकारा, इसके साथ ही 14 सितंबर 1949 के एक निर्णय को भी स्वीकार कर लिया कि इस देश की राजभाषा हिंदी होगी और लिपि देवनागरी होगी. बहुत लंबी बहस के बाद ये निर्णय लिया गया था और ये बहस को कोई पढ़ेगा तो उसका मूल, उसका तत्व और निर्णय के पीछे का एक दूरदृष्टि दृष्टिकोण हमारे समझ में आता है कि कोई भी भारतीय भाषा का एक दूसरे से स्पर्धा नहीं है. सभी भारतीय भाषाएं एक दूसरे की पूरक है, एक दूसरे को बल देती है.
Payal Mehta with us. Payal, you're also tracking the Council of Ministers meeting where Amit Shah is present, but on the occasion of Hindi Divas, once again underlining that Hindi was identified as the link language. This government has been very actively promoting communication in Hindi wherever possible.
Yes, of course, that's the reason that you have this huge celebration as far as the Hindi Divas is concerned, and the Home Minister really articulating this. At the same time, also highlighting that all Indian languages, are incomplete without each other, and they complement each other as well. So it's a very, very crucial celebration coming to the fore, because the Prime Minister of the country champions the cause of speaking in Hindi, the Home Minister speaks in Hindi, and Hindi is an acceptable language. Although, there has been a lot of arguments about this down south as well, where they refuse to accept Hindi as a language. But, undoubtedly Hindi, being one of the oldest languages, is something which is acceptable as a form of communication across the entire country. The Home Minister highlighting that in particular.
Thank you for your inputs, Payal. We're going to take a short break, but here's an update, and you can get the details on News18.com. Biological E may submit data on Corbevax by September end or early October. Conditional nod is likely. So we have another vaccine well in the stable very, very soon. Stay with us.